What's going on, y'all? Bud Elliott here, clockwise here. That's Chuck Blunt. That's Cam Lemons DeBro, our Wake Forest expert, joining us on the show. If you guys watch our summer school series, you've probably seen him a couple times on Cover 3. And that's Nile, Lawrence-Stample, of course. And we are still doing Nolecast, even with this amazing season that we're having. It's probably the scariest thing, actually, in our lives right now, even on Halloween, the way this team's been operating. But got a game this weekend, back off the bye week, and very excited to see how the Noles come out and play. 7:30 game hosting Wake Forest, a 10-point favorite in this one per Vegas, that's a lot of faith. That is a lot of faith. What's on y'all's minds on this game? What's on my mind to start, though, of course, is our friends at the legendary team. Chad does such a great job with the home loan process. More than 600 Nolecast listeners have decided to give Chad a call and complete their loan with him. I see some rates are dropping recently, so that's actually pretty awesome as well. Very excited to see Chad continue to do a lot of business with our Nolecast listeners. And yeah, y'all had asked us to go live, and we did. Yeah, so let's go ahead and hit this live for sure. Give Chad a call, 844 FSU loan, 844 FSU loan. Floor is open. Like, what intrigues you about this game?
Tommy's health. I mean, he's listed at probable, so I feel like that's going to be one of the keys to the game. For he can't just play; he has to be somewhat of the Castellanos they signed up for, right? Like, if he's just going to stand back there and not run, that offense isn't going to do a whole lot, and Wake Forest is going to feast on him.
Are you more worried about the concussion or the ankle?
Probably the ankle, because ever since the offense has been different ever since he hurt that leg, and it's completely limited what Gus wants to do with the offense. So I hope his brain is okay. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope FSU wouldn't put him in danger by playing him if he has concussion syndrome or any concussion syndrome. But I am worried about the leg, because if he can't run, it completely limits what they try to do on the offense, and it makes them very one-dimensional and easy to plan for.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, like, it seems like he's not been taken off as much recently. And when he does, he doesn't have the same juice to do it. I've heard some folks say, like, if he can't run, play Sperry, but it's not like he's like he's not Joe Flacco, statue back there. Like, he's still running around, some, and he's not like completely unplayable as a thrower. It's just the offense doesn't work the same if he's not like a legitimate, threat to make you pay when they don't account for him, like, with a long run or something really explosive.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it's just the multiple injuries. Like, when you have multiple injuries, it becomes very difficult to try to figure out which one's more important. And you start to typically kind of like neglect the other injury. So if we're in here trying to figure out what's going on with concussion protocol, then that ankle is probably not getting as much treatment as it probably needs to, because that's not the most important thing. So it's just like, can we get just some rest for Tommy? Can we just allow him to recoup fully? Obviously, we got a bye week, which was great, but to me, I would rather Tommy sit this game and allow him to really rest, so we can get a fully functioning Tommy. Like, we haven't had one in a while. There's just no reason. I just don't see the urgency of this season, to be completely honest, of why we need to force Tommy onto the field to get a somewhat 75% player. But we'll see. Hopefully he is 100%, but that's just kind of my take on it.
Yeah, but I still think Tommy at 75% is better than what Sperry offers right now.
Which is fine, which 100%,
yeah,
which I get. I really do understand that, but it's just, there's no answer. There's no winning there. There's no winning.
It's a weird thing too, because like, he's not a pro. He's not guaranteed to get another year. I think it's likely he gets another year, given, like, so what happened with, if you guys at home don't know, or Cam, if you don't know, he played a fifth game in the bowl game in the last year, in which that was not a thing, as far as like the bowl games being freebies. So I think a lot of people suspect he will get the fifth year, but it's not necessarily guaranteed.
It's also not guaranteed if there's a different coach. May not fit the new scheme.
Yeah, right. If Malzahn's gone, or if Norvell's gone, then yeah, I think it's probably pretty unlikely that he is, the QB,
at least back
right?
in Tally, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, he's not unplayable, but like, he's certainly not a guy that is, like,
you have to want him in your scheme to get him.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, so let's learn a little bit about this Wake Forest team. Like, what are we getting here? If for those of y'all who've not watched a lot of Wake, I watched Georgia Tech, I watched SMU. There was a game early in the season. I was like, oh my god, like they're awful.
Kennesaw,
And then, like
Kennesaw State.
yes, and
the sneaky good Owls.
Kennesaw, yeah, like for a CUSA team, Kennesaw's like sneaky decent.
Yeah.
You know,
I think offensively, it's revolved around quarterback. I think we know what Robbie Ashford is at this point. He's a low floor, high ceiling guy. There are going to be some plays where he's going to take off for 50 yards or throw a 50-yard bomb, and you're going to go, this is awesome. And then there are plays where a screen pass is bouncing off the turf, and you kind of question what's going on here. And
God, that sounds familiar.
Between him, Deshaun Purdy, who kind of has been the same thing of either the ball sailing into the fifth row, or it's going to be like the throw he made to set up the kick for SMU was one of the better throws I've seen him make this year. He has some insane arm talent. It's just he doesn't value the ball. And so that's kind of hurt because not from people who are just crowding the line of scrimmage, but now they're finding themselves, well, I definitely can't pass on first down half the time because I don't know if this screen pass is going to go anywhere. I don't know if this post is going to go anywhere. And that's kind of hurt what they want to do. Obviously, Damon's been pretty good at running back. He's one of the best running backs in the ACC. The one tick with Damon besides pass blocking has been, you can tell he doesn't really trust what's going on from time to time. And there have been more than a few times where they're running an inside zone, they're running a counter, and it's just, look, follow the track. If you follow it, you're going to pop it for about 10, 15 yards. He tries to do a little bit too much, and it ends up being 1 or 2 yards. And when he's following the track, the play goes really well. But that's one thing, in an environment like this where he knows it's a big game, he knows he wants to make a big play. Obviously, the quarterback play hasn't been good. How much of it does that play into it? Receivers, I think, have been fine. I mean, how much of it has been Chris Barnes has been amazing. Chris Barnes is, he's 5'8" on a good day, but is running past everybody. But for the rest of them, it's how much of it has been your quarterback isn't been as efficient as you needed to, and how much of it has been you trying to do it a little bit too much. But I think this one's going to be one with the offensive line. I think, if they've had Melvin Siani's been really good at left tackle. Falili Famo has been up and down at right tackle, but been more good than not good. The left guard is kind of where I'm a little bit worried. They're playing George Stye, who they started Clinton Richard, got hurt in the first game. 2 other guys got medically retired, so you're really on your 4th guy at left guard. He's been fine, kind of adjusting from a tackle to a guard, but this is a one where you go, this is a big talent upgrade from a Virginia Tech, from a Kennesaw State, from a Western Carolina. He was all right. I think PFF didn't love him. It was always one of those fun things. PFF didn't love him last game, but he was a player of the game by the coaches. So I wonder where that divergence really was. But I thought he was fine. But this is, I respect Florida State's defensive tackles a little more than I do, some of the other ones besides SMU.
Did you like Vitek's D-line? Because I've heard a lot of stuff about some of their dudes as being potentially hot commodities in the transfer portal.
I like them. If you can stop them from committing a roughing the passer every 6 downs, I think they're awesome. But I think Ben Bell is one of those guys that I think he's not an NFL guy, but he's one of those really solid college people. And I think that's what their line is. I don't think there's a lot of NFL talent, but I think there's, hey, no, you're a good 4th, 5th year college football player, and that's worth a lot of money.
Cam, for the turnovers, I see that they're in the hundreds in terms of average per game. Is that coming in bunches, like in like 1 or 2 games, or is that a consistent thing where Ashford's throwing into coverage and getting a pick per game and they're fumbling once per game, or is it like just coming in like in the 2 losses? Did a lot of those turnovers come in a large cluster, right?
Yeah, so I actually don't remember if they turned it over. I don't think they turned over against Georgia Tech. They turned it over 4 times against SMU, including twice in the last 2 minutes of the first half, which was one of the funniest things because SMU gave it back to them twice as well. It's been more of a bunches thing against Virginia Tech, not really. Against Kennesaw State, no. Against Western Carolina, they were pretty good with it. Yeah, it's just one of those things of it'll come in bunches, and it's and it's the same sort of thing. Robbie or Deshaun will throw the ball, kind of just it'll sail on them a little bit. There was you don't expect Damon Claiborne to fumble the ball, but he fumbles the ball on the 4-yard line against SMU. It's not so much that they're going to automatically give it up, but it feels like if it happens once, it's going to happen a couple more in that game.
Kind of snowballs on them in a game. When one happens, 2 or 3 more tend to follow.
2 or 3, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
It's never the same person or the same way, but it's just something stupid is going to happen.
Gotcha.
That red zone sequence against SMU was
bad. The one, because all you have to do if you're Cam Johnson, just catch the ball, and we're not talking about anyone fumbling the ball. That's all you have to do. But then he makes the hard catch at the end of the game, so you make up for it.
There you go.
Why is Wake a 10-point dog?
I talked about this the other day.
I don't get
Florida
that.
State is still kind of riding. I feel like down, Florida State has been a very good team. It's just been the margins that have been really really bad with them. I thought Stanford, the defense was still good. Granted, Stanford's offense is really bad, but that still counts for something. I thought against Miami in the second half, obviously that entire game, I thought FSU's defense was good. Second half, FSU's offense finally woke up. Against Pitt, moved the ball pretty well. I think you were up 24-21 going into the fourth, so the defense has had to play well to get there. Obviously, the Bama one is aged pretty well. I don't count FCS games, but in Kent State might as well be an FCS team, but you still beat the hell out of Kent State. And so I think all of that is kind of amalgamated. I think when you look through power ratings, Florida State's still hovering around 32, 33 in the power rankings. And because of Wake's offense and ineptitude, which is really weird because they're still scoring points, but they're not down good. Wake's probably around mid-60s.
Yeah.
That's that plus home field plus, an injury here or there. That's probably about 8.5 to 10 points, depending on how you weight certain things. I don't agree with it because I think there's vibes that is a very real thing, and I question that about Florida State versus Wake. But from the numbers, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's where I landed. But when, like you said, vibes got to matter. When one team's on a 4-game losing streak, it's kind of wild to see them as a double-digit favorite.
I bet against LSU 2 weeks in a row because I thought the vibes there were just completely horrendous, and they lost 2 weeks in a row, and Brian Kelly is no longer the head coach there.
There you go.
Yeah,
and the new AD.
And the new AD.
The team itself has just been such a roller coaster, and just like after you lose to Stanford on the road, I think it's really difficult to continue to have faith in a team that seems like the faith is kind of leaving the room game by game. And though you want to believe that the team itself is good, and based on the numbers, it seems like it could be justifiable. The team itself, just like you said, the vibes, the team is in legitimate turmoil. Like and as far as like a locker room sense, there's really doesn't seem like there's like actual purpose for the team itself. And the purpose has to matter. Whereas Wake Forest has a legitimate purpose. That's where it causes a little bit of an issue for me as far as even thinking that this is a possible game, just because of that reason alone. So coming off of a bye week, it's hard to tell, and it's hard to understand what that vibe looks like because it could have completely shifted. But what we saw prior to the bye week is really hard to think that we could, the guys could find a purpose overnight, whereas our organization as a whole can't find a purpose for them themselves. So it's really difficult to accept that, but we'll see. I'm optimistic, but I really don't think that Florida State has got it together to where the boat can actually get pushed in the same direction.
I would agree with that. Something else that does actually row all in the same direction though is Congruity. Our friends at Congruity offer great HR solutions, payroll, whatever you need, medical insurance, etc. All the contact info right there in the show notes. Congruity is the place to call. They do such a great job. More than 10 Nolecast affiliated businesses are there. Obviously, Graham uses them quite a bit as well. So Congruity is your spot for any kind of payroll, HR solutions, etc. All right. Where do we think Wake has like non-vibes edges, and where do we think FSU has non-vibes edges?
I have the one thing that I did watch and that I feel strongly about is that Wake Forest is fairly disciplined. Like they look on their offensive line, on their defensive line, like they look like they follow their keys, they trust their keys, and they trust their coaching. Whereas we're overplaying guys. I love the Zero Twins. I love them. They are going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with. They're playing honestly more than they should. Like they play as much as they've been playing because they play with effort and grit. That is what's being allowed. That has been allowing them to get on the field, and that's what's causing them to make plays. But when it comes to being disciplined, they have a lot of work to do, which is going to be fine. They will develop into those type players, but gap integrity is important. It is super important, and effort doesn't always win that. So that's where I'm a little bit worried with Wake Forest. Is I think Wake Forest is more gap sound. I think they do trust their coaching and they trust their keys. And if we don't do that, that's gonna give Wake Forest the edge.
With that gap integrity, can those linebackers cover an RPO at all? Because I kept watching a lot of stuff, and I kept seeing, okay, you're running the zone, and then I was like, wait, that's not where your zone is supposed to be, and then they're so far off the screen. And this is against Chandler Morris and Mason Heichel, who I think are mobile-ish quarterbacks, but Robbie and Damond are way different animals of athleticism. So if you're going to go ahead and give an 18-wheeler's worth of a rushing lane because you don't have your gap integrity and your rush lanes are bad, can Nicholson and the rest of Cryer catch them?
No.
Yeah.
No. If they really don't respect the throw component of it, I think there's some chance they could sell out and be okay-ish against the run.
Okay.
But, like, Wake has some throw component.
Yeah, Chris Barnes is going to get the ball in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I know Earl Little's good, but, I mean, at a certain point, you're going to give up catches.
Exactly. So, like, I guess, can they is a question, because theoretically, I guess, they could, but at the same time, have the last 16 quarters say no, probably not, unless you think that's really going to get changed. Again, like, there's the whole, like, have they checked out discussion? Are the vibes horrendous in the building? Debate. If you want to debate that's a debate. I don't think it's a debate, actually, but like, on field, I guess in theory they could, right? But they have not really shown that they do or can.
I did want to bring up something. So one thing that I thought was a huge edge for the Alabama game was the amount of time that we had to prep.
Yeah.
So
Gus time.
Exactly. So if we have time, and same thing, I think that was the edge that Miami had on us as well, is that they had that extra time. So us going into a bye week and having 2 weeks off, even though I think Norvell probably was like, listen, you guys get out of here for a little bit longer than maybe he should, because everyone needed a break. I hope that we had enough time for Tony White to be able to implement a defense that actually makes sense and the guys can actually pick up. Because I think that has been a huge falter for us, is that we haven't had enough time for this complex defense for the guys to know who to pick up and when to pick them up and to follow their keys. So that may be a positive going into this game, is that we had a little bit more time.
Yeah, but you got to also hope that they bought in to even pick up on some of those changes. That's one of the concerns, and a lot of the rumors and message board talk is just that they haven't had the best attendance to meetings and practices and guys giving effort for the last 10 days. So it's one of those things where this could be 2006 against Wake all over again, where night game in Doak, half empty stadium, and they get their ass kicked and people get fired for it. Like, that's my biggest fear. And I think it's very much in the realm of possibility.
I mean, you guys, if you want to go see it, tickets are like $4.99.
50 yard line.
Are they? We've all been under the impression that this is not sellout, but it's homecoming. Looks like there's some decent amount of recruits coming in.
StubHub's got great seats available for under like $20, man.
Man.
Okay. We're coming off a 2-win season, so like this snowball is about the end of this mountain.
If it was Parents Weekend, I would be convinced in the crowd. I'm not really sure homecoming is getting it done.
Okay.
It's like Parents Weekend, they don't care, right? Like, no, they're coming to see their kids.
Yeah.
This is the most out I've seen the fan base probably since the Jeff Bowden days. Like, the fan base is livid.
Worse than Taggart?
Oh, it's terrible, man.
Yeah.
Like, it is really, really bad, like protest type of fan base at this point. They're so mad about the statement, we'll reassess at the end of the year. They don't, all of that stuff has just lit a fire in the wrong way under the fan base. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's 35,000 people in the stands and they boo the entire time. Like, it's going to be a nasty Viper pit for the home team.
My worry has been for, I guess, FSU, if they get punched in the mouth, do they quit? Yes. I think if SFU comes out and scores first, gets a stop, things still could get hairy. But if they get punched first, is that just it?
Oh yeah, I mean, they fought back in the Pitt game because they did give up a long, sustained drive that ended in a touchdown in the Pitt game, and then they gave up points early in the Stanford game. That was actually one of the keys I had for that game. But like they aren't totally quick. I think though, with a 4-game losing streak off a bye, and they know they have a dead man walking as their head coach. If Wake comes out and puts it on them early, they probably will quit and get run out of the stadium. Like, it wouldn't shock me one bit. That's the vibes you get from this team right now.
I would agree with that. All right. As a Wake fan, what scares you?
Talent. I think they played. That was the best defensive performance I've seen as a football fan last weekend in the last maybe 10, 15 years. And SMU's entire game plan last week was, our athletes are better than yours. And these linebackers and corners just said, no, you're not. I think FSU has better talent. I think Dancy is insane. I think Deuce Robinson is insane. I think Deuce is just such a matchup problem for anyone. I think Prunty's been good, and then defensively, I think the secondary, while they bust from time to time, this is the best. I think this is the best wide receiver and cornerback matchups Wake has had to play all year. I think SMU's corners are mad, but their wide receivers are fine. I don't really love Georgia Tech's wide receivers, and I think their corners are probably fine. At Virginia Tech, no on both sides. Oregon State, no on both sides. Talent, pound for pound, this is easily the most talent, and they've put it on film, that Wake will have played all year. And while I don't think Wake's at a full talent deficit, if Deuce gets you for a 60-yard, up top, are you supposed to be surprised about that? If they bring in a blitz, if a Tony White defense brings in a blitz and Robbie Ashford gets into a pick six, am I supposed to be really all that stunned about it? So I think the talent, and then also I think there's emotions on Wake's side too. We obviously saw them get up off the mat after the Georgia Tech, kind of lost there in a really big environment in Blacksburg, but winning on a field goal that cleared the crossbar by about 6 inches after basically getting the ball back with 12 seconds, that's about as emotionally empty as you can possibly be. And now you have to go on the road again.
I'm also curious. Go ahead, Chuck.
No, I didn't have any.
I'm a little bit curious. Like, does Gus call Rhett? Like, you just played him. You run in some way some similar offense. Hey, man, what do you think they were trying to do to you here? Like, we saw this on film. Anything we didn't see? If you could run this back, how do you attack this thing differently? What did they break out that surprised you, that gave you trouble? Did any kind of keys you guys picked up late into the game that you didn't have time to capitalize on? Like, coaches in the same coaching tree, they chat.
They do.
And like, those guys are like Lashley and Rhett Rhett Lashley and Gus are obviously pretty tight.
Right.
So
I can see that. My only worry there was, I would be a little more worried on that if SMU was close.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of, outside of one drive, SMU wasn't really close on hitting on anything in that game.
You guys should have blown them out.
Yeah.
No, that should have been a 2-3 touchdown win. If you don't fumble on the goal line twice, you probably win that by multiple scores. And I mean, also I think that's a big thing of, it's hard to. I don't think Wake wins this game 13-12. I don't think they can do that again. I think Wake has to score 21 points in this. Can they? Can you? I know everyone has made a big deal about Castellanos and him against the blitz has been pretty bad. On one hand, they just dealt with a mobile quarterback with an ankle injury because Jennings wasn't really healthy in that. But I was just watching Tommy just throw off his back foot for about 50 yards downfield for a dot. The dude just makes dumb stuff happen.
That's fact, actually.
I don't know if FSU can score 24 points.
Yeah.
They're only averaging 19 points a game in their last 18 against FBS. Like, This team just struggles versus anyone at this level right now, and they don't do anything particular. The stats are very misleading because of Kent State and because of that FCS game.
Right.
I think if Wake gets to 24, they probably have the game.
That's probably fair. In thinking about it, that makes some sense. What else do we see here? Other than Clay, like Wake's back. If you guys have not seen him, Claiborne is nasty. He's legitimately one of the best backs in the country. Does he have 1 year left or 2 years?
No, he's done. This is 4 for 4.
Oh, he's a senior.
Sure.
Yeah, he's a true senior. Yeah, he's a true senior. So, and I think it's going to be really fun because I was just writing about it. Ezel will kind of run some of the same stuff that Gus wants to do. It's both a power spread kind of thing. But it was really interesting when I went back through SMU and I went back through the Stanford game and I went back through UVA. It felt like Wake almost intentionally was putting stuff on film that had worked against FSU just to be like, hey, like there was a couple of T throwbacks that were like almost formationally the same thing. And I was like, like they just saw this a week ago, right? And so I'm curious how much of, I know people don't want to plan ahead, but I do wonder how much of like this game is kind of encircled especially once the losses started piling up of, hey, let's maybe advance scout this one a little bit more and a little bit more. Dicker made a comment during the Monday press conference about essentially, because I see how often FSU loves to just like twist and stun stuff, which I think is fun. I love a good twist game. But if people are just running inside zone, which Wake has been doing a lot this year,
they do well.
They're going to get popped for about 10, 15 yards because you have defensive ends or tackles just taking themselves out of the play. And so are you going to go away from that, or are you going to try to play them straight up this time?
That's difficult as well. And that's one thing that we've struggled with is keeping our tackle on the bubble. Can our tackle stay on the bubble? Tackles get paid a ton of money so that way they can stay on the damn bubble and not get popped and not get hit on the hip and get thrown out of the way. So, and that's a way for us to stop that, is for those stunts and for us to be able to cross and blitz and stuff like that. Those are opportunities for us to create havoc. But if our guys aren't disciplined enough to understand that we can't go an extra guy over, we can't just continue to cross face. It just opens up these massive lanes. And that's one thing that worries me, is that Wake is disciplined. Like, as far as their offensive line, they're clean and they do things clean. So if we're not disciplined and keeping that gap integrity, especially when we are trying to do things that better suit us to stop the run, it's just a double-edged sword there. It's a double-edged sword.
It really is.
Yeah. It's tough.
Defensively, who are the guys we need to know about the most?
I was just talking to someone. Deuce versus Karan Prunty at corner that's an NFL matchup. Karan's a legitimate 6'1", 190. I think he has 2 picks on the year. Had a really good one last week. Physical, and it was a kid that he was at Kansas, was a freshman All-American, and then ended up back down at NCAA. And everyone was like, okay, maybe you grade something like that. Maybe he just wasn't that good enough. And then he played really well in A&T, and we played him last year. And Clausen was like, "Yeah, no, he's got a better grade than any of our quarterbacks NFL wise." You bring him in, and it's gotten to the point where people just don't throw at him anymore. Now, granted, Deuce has 5 inches on him. You're probably going to take some shots there, but that's one where scouts in the building, I think, are going to circle that one and say this is someone we're watching. I think on the defensive line, everyone's kind of made a big deal about Matir Abiragba, who's been the defensive tackle. PFF loves him. I think he's the second highest graded DT. But I've been kind of enamored with Noor Gakuth. They got him and Gabe Kirschke from Colorado State. Ole Miss was kind of circling the waters around both of them. Noor is your like prototypical 6'4", 230, not real thin, but definitely not as beefy as you'd like. But his get off is just absurd. I think he had 7 pressures last week against SMU, who has a pretty solid offensive line. And I think that's something you're looking for, is you don't want to necessarily just blitz Tommy all the time, but Wake has been one of the best teams this year at getting pressures with 4. And if you can rush 4 and not even just get home, but just get them off base with 4, how effective is Tommy or most of these guys going to be if Wake can just drop 7 this entire game?
Yeah. I think also if he's limited physically, I mean, you may as well blitz him because he isn't a threat to run right now. Like that leg is clearly bothering him, so they may want to blitz him just because he isn't going to beat you like he could have earlier in the year.
That's what they did against Jennings last week. Yeah, the Jennings, his ankle wasn't right either, and I blitzed probably they doubled the amount. Still wasn't that much. They brought him with second, third down, and Jennings really had no answer for it whatsoever.
A lot of teams have been bringing it from the right side to force him, Tommy to roll left because he can't make that throw. He throws it out of bounds or he throws it at people's feet. Like he can't roll left and make the throw. So if you're going to bring the blitz, that's where you bring it from.
No,
I can't believe Wake is number 1 in the country in yards per attempt against pass.
It's even more amazing when you factor in they face 37 pass attempts per game.
Yeah,
like it's crazy. It's not like teams aren't throwing against them. People are trying to throw as often as possible, and Wake is destroying people's passing game.
It's interesting because I was looking at CFP graphs, shout out Parker, but I was like, okay, it felt like Wake gets run on a lot and people really don't. So that's why when we said 37 attempts, I was like, yeah, no, people do throw a lot. I mean, a big thing has been they don't allow explosives. That's just they just don't do it. I think you'll get 1 a game. I think every team has gotten 1 to 2 a game, but other than that, and I think it's been a good job by Scotty Hazelton. I think he's done a really good job of kind of some multiple fronts. I think he picked that up when he was at Texas last year. And obviously Texas defense was pretty damn good last year. But the big thing has been they retooled the corner room. Prunty has been really good. Lardarius Webb Jr., who his dad is Lardarius Webb, and that's how old you probably are. But he's for a 5'9", 5'10" corner, he's been playing outside and playing really well. Trayvon West has been well. And then I think the safeties, Nick Anderson has been a first-team All-ACC safety. And they've stopped putting him on slot receivers, and it's worked out really well. Devon Patterson played out of his mind last week, and I think he's someone that's an NFL-level talent from the Jacksonville area, which I'm sure Florida State fans would love to hear that a 3-star from Jacksonville from Ed White just decides to be close to an NFL guy. And so they've really retooled the secondary. I think it's kind of weird because the corners coach is Chevis Jackson, who got fired from Miami last year for not having a good corner room, and now they have a good one. And so it's always interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think what else on this. Obviously, if you're in Tally, where are we watching all the noon games? Where are we watching 3:30 games? If you don't want to pay $5 for a ticket, where are you watching the game? If you are in Tallahassee, that's Madison Social. That's Township. Those are absolutely the best spots. They don't really have off years, man. Like they've just been cranking. Since they opened up, it's been an awesome partnership for us, and really an awesome. Like anybody who goes there, I think we just don't get complaints straight up. Like it's just, hey, like you guys say it's good. We go, especially all you out of town folks, and you go, and it's fantastic. Weather should be awesome this weekend. By the way, I mean this is an absolute Chamber of Commerce weekend to move to the state of Florida. Fortunately, I'm going to be in Kansas City for a wedding, so I'm not really going to be freezing my butt off, guys. This is not looking good. Yeah, my Florida blood is a little too thin for that. I'm trying to think what else in this like potential game changing stuff. Obviously, Tommy. If Daryl shows up and has a huge game like that's potentially really big. Given that Wake, I don't think Wake wants to chuck it around 40 times.
Cam, I notice Wake is 27th in the country forcing almost a full fumble per game. Are they actually forcing though, or is that a case where teams are just being sloppy with the ball?
Oh, they're ripping at it.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, the last one they had against SMU, Patterson just completely ripped it out.
FSU is 101st at fumbling the ball, so that's something to keep an eye on. If Wake is one of those teams that actually rips the ball out, there's a good chance that FSU will cough it up once or twice to them because they've done it consistently throughout the year.
That's good.
We will fumble the ball.
I remember, so Wake does these little cinematic things after their wins and everything, and this year they've actually done a pretty good job of peeking into the Friday meetings of just being like, hey, just emphasizing what we're doing. And I remember against Oregon State, poor Malik Murphy. I think Malik finally needs to graduate. But with him, with fumbles and interceptions, they were like, no, like this is what you need to do. You got to rip it out. He's gonna do some dumb stuff, and you got to go get it. They're emphasizing they want to rip things out.
All right.
Does it feel like the path for FSU was a lot more narrower than a 10-point spread would indicate?
Does first team to score win this game? Like, do we feel like neither team is really all that equipped to play from behind?
I think if Wake scores first, they definitely win. I don't think this team has the mental makeup to play from behind for a fifth straight game. I don't know if the same could be said. I think Wake has been in enough dogfights and shown their mettle that even if they go down 3 or 7-0 early, I think they could still be in the game and they don't have to worry about their confidence. FSU is reeling. They cannot get in a hole early. They will quit.
If FSU,
I believe that wholeheartedly.
If FSU has a sustained drive and scores first, I think that's possible. If it's kind of a not fluky, but sometimes explosives just can be fluky. But if it's just a someone just busted a coverage for a 75-yard score, I'm not sure, because I think that's one you can just. Because I think if FSU gets into that confidence and saying, "Look, we can put together a tempo 13-play 70-yard drive," that's something they need. They know they can hit explosives. They know they can. That's how they stayed in most of these games.
I think that's fair. I guess I just feel like stylistically,
yeah.
Aside from the quitting angle, which is clearly like something you got to be concerned about. Like, I don't really want to see Robbie Ashford dropping back a whole lot on obvious passing downs, and I know I don't want to see Tommy doing that. Like, it's if either team loses the threat of the run game, then I think they're in real trouble.
Yeah, I think that's why it's hard for first, because I think even if Wake gets down 14-3, I don't think they get too pass happy. I still think they might see enough of an edge of saying, okay, look, our defense we've had a weird half, get it in there. I think if FSU gets down 14-3 and Tommy has to legitimately just drop back, I think it's over. I think Gus might just get a little bit too wonky and say, we got to figure something out here.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, I know you had some good stats for us on the last the last couple games, more than a couple actually. Last few games FSU has played here. I'm going to share this with our audience. So hit us with these key takeaways for the listeners at home who don't have us on YouTube.
So this is the last 18 games FSU has played against FBS opponents. You'll notice they've only won 3 of those 18 games, scoring 19 points a game while giving up 30. They were favored in 8 of those, going 2-6 straight up and 2-6 against the spread. So yeah, this game doesn't exactly bode well for FSU based on recent history. I think the you can't really see it to the right, but FSU's actually had the talent advantage in 11 of the games, and they went 2-9. So again, even if FSU has somewhat of a talent advantage this weekend, they don't use it to their advantage, because we've seen consistently under Norvell, he either plays up to the competition like he did against Bama, or he plays down to whatever competition they're playing. Like, he can't ever just get them to be steady state, and this is what FSU is. So don't be surprised if once again they go out there and shoot themselves in the foot 4 or 5 times and lose this game by a couple scores. I mean, it's a very real possibility.
If that happens, I'm not saying that we have to do an emergency show on Sunday, but if that happens, I think all the talk of like, oh, maybe there's a path to get back for 26, that's got to be out the window.
No, yeah. And I understand why they're saying it. I mean, they've lost to 3 top 35-ish type teams in the 4 losses, and they've been close competitive games, at least on the scoreboard. The Stanford game, I'll chalk up to West Coast 10:30 body clock. Maybe I shouldn't, and I've been making that excuse for 2 weeks. But if they come out and they're lifeless in this game, I don't see how you let this guy continue to coach the team. They clearly, at that point, would have tuned him out, and you're doing everybody a disservice at that point to continue to put the charade on like he's going to be your coach long term.
Did any of you guys watch the latest Eyes Up episode?
Absolutely not.
No.
You can only climb so long before you fall. I'm done.
Like, the thing is, I understand people over there have jobs, right? But, like, you can make the videos and not necessarily put them out. Right?
If you win, put them out. If you get another win, then you do it.
Correct.
I guess you don't have to put them out. Yeah, I guess, but you spend all that time doing it. My biggest issue and what sucks for Tommy is you can't put your stock into a running quarterback when Gus's offense is obviously built and powered by a running quarterback, and your running quarterback being named. Like it almost immediately makes you one-dimensional, and it makes you one-dimensional in a situation that is unless your running game is like tried and true, you got to trust Tommy to throw the ball. Like you have to trust him to throw the ball. Like there's
but Gus's offense has been terrible. Like we ran the numbers that if his offense at Auburn or UCF threw the ball 25 or more times, he was barely 500, and like almost a third to a half of those wins were against MAC schools or Sunbelt schools or FCS. Like his offense, if Gus gets himself in a hole and has to throw the ball, he doesn't have answers.
My point exactly.
And Tommy's not built to throw the ball either, though. Like we know that is one of his major limitations. So I mean, I don't know that FSU could win no matter what they try to. Like it's a bad situation if they can't run the football. And if Tommy doesn't have his legs, you're not going to be as effective running the ball. And I think we've seen that since the injury to his leg before the Virginia game, right? I think that's played into it and why the offense is kind of bogged down at times because Tommy can't improvise and do some of the stuff to just make a play happen. And as long as he's going to be like that.
That's my point exactly. I've been very happy and I've been surprised at how well Kevin Sperry has come in and not necessarily played, but how he's managed. Like you got to be able to manage a team. Like that is everything. If you can figure it out between the ears, you'll do well. Regardless if you're a 5-star, you could sling the ball wherever it is. If you can manage a game, you'll do well. And that's kind of my point as far as possibly even playing him is because if Tommy is in a situation to where he can't actually be mobile or he's hesitant because of this concussion, whatever it is, it's like you are now you're giving him out to the wolves in this offense. Like there's no robust like way that you could dress this offense up other than your quarterback being able to legitimately make a threat. That's what it's based off of. So if we can, it's just, again, it's a double-edged sword there, but I think that has been the biggest issue for Tommy is that he's not as mobile as he should be because he does not have a choice in this offense. He doesn't have a choice. And if he can't do it, then it just immediately eliminates because they do not have him throw across the middle. I think I've seen him throw across the middle twice all season. So it's like if we can't deliver the ball and we can't make a threat to be able to actually run our quarterback leads or whatever it is, it's just like, what is Gus doing? He's coordinating an offense with his hands tied behind his back. So it's a tough watch. I'm looking forward, and that's again my point on Kevin Sperry. Like, what options is it? It's just, are we going to watch the boat go down slowly, or are we going to throw a life raft, even though it may not reach the boat? It's somewhere in the water, and we know that there's an opportunity. It's just, there's
a good chance we'll get to see Sperry one way or the other in this game.
I have a hunch I will see Sperry in this game. I've kind of been chatting about that, but I think we see him, whether it's a couple of drives just to get some things off balance, whether it's a blowout one way or another. I don't think there's a way this game ends without Sperry showing up in this end.
Yeah. It wouldn't shock me if he plays. I do think they're going to start Tommy. I know Sonone reported it's out there that Tommy's practiced all week. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Tommy, I guess.
I hope he plays well, and I hope he looks good, and I hope he looks healthy, and he looks ready to go. I really do. I'd love that. That'd be amazing for everyone. But yeah, there's nothing like playing with a concussion or playing like you're trying. It's a tough one.
Totally. At least he had the bye week for it, right? Like that's big. Like it's a lot of times it's hard to get a guy back in a week. If he shows any symptoms, you can't get back in a week typically. Like that. I do think all of these schools are pretty regimented about this now. Like there's just enough literature out there. Like you can't afford to like fake it, kind of.
Right.
But all right, let's do predictions here. Let's share this. So we have FanDuel has it 10.5, 51.5. Man, 10.5. It makes me want, like, are there more injuries for Wake than we realize? I don't know. I know like the Wake injury reporting has changed this year compared to prior years. I believe I saw some stuff on that. So
just a little bit.
little less open, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. Like closing practice in Tallahassee, it worked. I mean, last year they won 2 games. This year they've already won 3. So I would say, like, I mean, you're 50% greater win this year than you were last year. But So FanDuel has a 10.5, total 51.5. So that's a 31-21 projected score. And this did I link the Pitt score, or do we still label this Pitt?
Oh, I didn't change the name Pitt.
Nope,
My bad.
no problem.
That was
All right,
me not
we'll
paying
just-
attention.
I'll scroll down extra far. So
Bulletin board for Wake Forest. I disrespect them. I'm so
A little
sorry.
more.
There you go.
All right. We do it the black outline with the right colors there at least. I went 20-24. Chuck, you have picked the lone win here for FSU, and my camera is glitching now somehow. It's great.
Yeah, I don't really feel good about it. I don't know, man. I guess it's just hope. Maybe it's also my natural negative side that I just, until Norvell's fired, I'm just going to believe they're going to win out and keep him, and I'm going to be stuck with him for another year. So this is me hoping against hope.
Got you. I don't know.
Again, I said it's a race to 24, so there you go. Like, if Wake gets to 24, they'll probably win.
I think it's the first time I ever heard FSU would not be confident, at least in, hey, we can get there.
Dude, Wake Forest this series is 10-7 in the last 17 meetings going back to 06. It's crazy. Like, it's kind of like when they play NC State. I have no confidence against certain ACC teams just because they've shown so many times there's no reason to be confident. And this is one of those games. I mean, Jimbo accounted for 7 of those 10 wins, and he ain't coming. Well, hopefully he's not coming back. He was 7-1 against Wake.
Yeah.
And then you got, I mean, Norvell's what, 1-2?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's 1-2.
Yeah, because it was Wake won the rainy game that basically fired Taggart.
Yeah.
And then won the next 2.
Yep. So, I have no confidence.
And the one Mike got was the Trey Benson game?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the one where Wake had basically quit on the season. Mitch Griffiths was there. It was not a fun environment.
So,
Cam, what do you have?
Yeah,
have you given your prediction yet?
I usually don't give out predictions publicly, but I have it 21-17. I think this is going to be a slow, grinding, just ugly game. For 21-17 for Wake, I should say. I've drank the Kool-Aid on this defense all year. If you're telling me Tommy's ankle is not going to be that good, I think Deuce gets them once, and there's going to be some BS drive that, Wake fumbles a punt and they're on like the 5 and gives up a touchdown. But I get very offended at very bad linebacker play, and I can't continuously look at how the linebackers and secondary are just playing zone like this poorly, and you just can't stay in man the entire game. You can't. I think this is one of the best man teams I've watched, but you can't play in it the entire way. And I think, I just think this is a game where DeMond is actually going to be able to run the football effectively. And if you're telling me DeMond's going to get 90 or 100 in a touchdown, those are usually games I think Wake is pretty more equipped to win.
I love that our backers are so bad. It's triggering for a guy who covers a different team than us. Look, that's.
Dude, welcome to the last decade of Florida State football. The last good linebackers we had were Telvin and Terrence Smith.
Terrence Smith, where are you? Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I don't understand. At a certain point, it's not just recruiting. Like, something else has to be going on.
Oh no, the coaching's terrible at that position.
Yeah, got to get a little better there. But like they know what it looks like, so that I'm sure they'll get it corrected and keep climbing. So
until they fall.
Yeah, I got Wake 27. Which is tough because I've been really pushing for Florida State. It's just my biggest issue is going to be the purpose. And if they can come up with a purpose, or Norvell or one of the coaches can come up with an opportunity to push these guys in a direction that allows them to buy into what's happening in front of them, I definitely think we can win this game. I just don't know if the purpose is there, and therefore I think our defense is going to play all that well. I think we will be able to score some points, but I just don't think we're going to be able to pull that out, which sucks. If that purpose is there, it'll definitely be a ball game for sure. We have the talent. The talent's never been the issue. But one thing I will say, I hope we see some of the younger players. I've been talking about that on Nolan with Nile. And hopefully we see some of the younger players this game and have a couple of them kind of get lost in coverage and us game plan for a couple of them to be able to make some plays. So we'll see what we got. But I'm interested to watch this game.
And if you have YouTube TV, you're gonna have to find a new way to watch it.
That's right.
That's gonna suck. Yeah. Worst.
I bet you that gets solved. Maybe not.
I hope so.
It feels like it always does, but if ESPN wants to push everybody to the ESPN app, it seems like
they're trying to get that $30 subscription, man.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me.
No. Not for this game. Oh shoot. All right, guys. That's all I got for this week. Anybody else have any other parting thoughts? Cam, you want to tell everybody where they can find you? Shoot, I probably should have done that to start.
You're all good. You can find me pretty much every social, Cam Lemons _ Demon Deacon Digest for 24/7 Sports Network. I always love working with Bud, you, Sanone, Nee, all you guys do a great job. So happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, dudes.